All right, so the Colorado Avalanche dropped their first game of the Stanley Cup Final 6-2 in game 3 in Tampa. And this just was not good for the Avs. It started out okay. Things were kind of going their way. Had a goal, although it was called back. Got another goal, and then things just started happening wrong for the Avs. It didn't look good. Not so good in goal. What are we going to do there? I think that is going to be a big topic of conversation. So we have that to get to, our sound check to get to, and a whole mess of other things. So let's get to it.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Avalanche fans, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, and the Colorado Avalanche drop their first game of the Stanley Cup Final. So 6-2, you look at the score and you're like, yeah, that can't be good. And for large chunks of it, it wasn't. We'll get into some of the stats that surprisingly, a lot of it favors the Avalanche in this. And I think a lot of this game was more mistakes that the Avs made that the Lightning capitalized on. We talk sometimes about how the media is covering this series, and a lot of it is geared towards Tampa. And I get that because they are the two-time defending champions. But when the Avs were doing what they were doing in game 1 and game 2, a lot of it was kind of like, well, Tampa's not doing what they should be doing. And for the Avalanche, that was this game. The Avalanche didn't play their game. They're much better than what they showed out on game 3. So we'll get to all of that in a second. First things first, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. Follow the show on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow the show on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. All right, sir. Give me your overall thoughts. First of all, we'll start there like we always do.
Congratulations, Tampa Bay. You beat us for the first time all year. I bet you feel great.
Yeah.
It's the Avalanche they did not have it. Everything that they had in game 1 and game 2, especially coming off game 2, none of that traveled. They left it on the plane, they left it in Ball Arena. It did not come with them to Tampa Bay. They did not look, I wouldn't say ready to play. They just didn't look like they wanted to play. It was
I don't know, man. Like I wouldn't say that they didn't come ready to play. I feel like the first period I thought was fine. You know what I mean? Like they had the goal, the Nichushkin goal, and that was early on, and that was called back. And you had, I don't disagree with that call. I think you're going to have
No.
some diehard
Yeah.
Avalanche fans out there saying like that's a BS call and that, the refs are against us. It was so close. I mean, it's a fraction of a millimeter, but you could see some white in between the puck and the blue line. And I think they got that call right. My issue with that is they seem to give John Cooper a lot of time to look at all of the video. I didn't like that. They went to him once and he said no. It looked like he said no. I got to watch it again, but I'm almost positive he pointed to center ice and said drop the puck. And then he called them back over and said, "Oh, we have a different look." Well, that's on your video department to get you the videos quicker, my man. And
You mean it's not preparing for the Avalanche correctly?
right, exactly. Their audio video might not be preparing as either. That annoyed me. That's what annoyed me. So, but you had that, whatever. And just the fact that, okay, the goal got rescinded, but you scored on him. And it was an ugly goal. Nichushkin didn't get a lot of it, but it went through. And then, that got called back. But who was it that, Landeskog, yeah. Gabe Landeskog did get one. you do give up 2, so you're down in the period, but I thought in the first overall, I was okay with that. You're on the road, you had that call go against you, you're only down 2-1. You kind like, that's what you kinda want in when you're on, someone else's ice, is just you don't want the thing to get out of hand after 1, and I kinda felt like they did that. But you're
Yeah,
right, after that, it was downhill.
yeah, well, like, in that first period, they had every reason I mentioned this in the Twitter space. Um, they had every reason to, throw their hands up and, like, momentum be killed. Like, you had a call go against you. The power plays they started stacking up. Like, it was you're being taken off your game. The first period that had every reason to go back to the old Avalanche ways of getting frustrated, getting emotional, and giving up. They didn't. It's just after that, we talk about it all the time, like keeping your foot on the gas. It was not even after Landeskog scored that first one, there was not a lot of like push and effort. Like the ozone time, like the
Right.
Avs were dominating the ozone. It's just you didn't feel that never ending pressure that you had in game two and the later portion of game one.
Yeah, but I feel like it wasn't due to lack of effort. I feel like Tampa finally got in front of the Avs.
Yeah.
Like they were not letting them get these a lot of time and space and get these odd man rushes. They were stopping them in the neutral zone. They were anticipating, Avalanche just making a go for it on the edges, and they were getting in front of them. From a defensive standpoint, Tampa completely turned it around.
Yeah.
Completely turned around. Like they were getting in the Avs way, and it was frustrating Colorado. Go ahead. Thought you were saying something.
And that's more like when I was talking about like the pressure. If you could maintain that pressure that you had like in game two, like they did Tampa change things up to where it was difficult. It was hard to set up. It was hard to get going. And like the defense for Colorado they kind of played on their heels. Like they were playing to Tampa's game from where the story of the playoffs have been when Colorado plays Colorado hockey, good things happen.
Mhm.
It was more reactive. And that's where that disconnect the speed for Colorado alone can beat Tampa every day of the week. And
Oh,
they got
sure.
away from that. They got away from that and they started playing back. And once you start playing back and adjusting to what they're doing, that's when you have the 2 losses that you got
Yeah.
in the St. Louis series.
Well, they were frustrating, like I said. Like
Yeah.
they couldn't. They struggled more to when they would force a turnover or just gain control of the puck in their defensive zone. They couldn't get those clean zone exits and just go up ice.
Yep.
It Tampa made it more difficult for them to do that. But the Avs had some really bad turnovers and mistakes that the Lightning capitalized on. And the first one was Devon Taves. They got the puck in the zone. Then they're just kind of passing the puck around. They're trying to create something, and he kind of he does. He whiffs on a pass, but he gets some of it.
Yeah.
And I would rather him have got none of it, because then the puck wouldn't have gone anywhere, but it just kind of trickled off into like the point, and away goes Tampa. And then there was another one where it was, God, I think it was Eric or no, it was Josh Manson.
Yeah.
And he was going to leave the puck behind him, I believe, for Darren Helm to get, but Helm went in the same direction as Manson. So that just leaves Corey Perry there just to collect the puck. Nobody there, centers it to, I think it was Stamkos, and Kemper couldn't make a stop. We're going to get to goalies in the second segment, but that's a problem. Like, it
Yeah.
was not a good game from Darcy Kuemper, and I know, like, you can always have this argument when a goalie or when a team gives up as many goals as the Avs have. You can always have that argument. Well, it's not all on the goalie. Fine, but he didn't make stops.
Yeah.
He didn't make it. We'll talk about him in a minute, but um, yeah, I thought it's weird, man, because like I'm kind of like, it's a loss. It sucks. Um, and they got blown out. But I'm not sitting here right now feeling like, "Oh my god, like, this is the rise of the Lightning."
Yeah.
I feel like the Avs beat themselves up last night. Lightning took advantage, so congratulations to them, and that's what a good team does. But this doesn't lower my confidence going into game 4.
No.
When we get to our sound check, you'll know why maybe my confidence is going up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here like I'm okay. The Avs are better than what they put out there last night.
And that was the narrative going in to game 3 was this is the Lightning. If they don't win this, this is over. This is you're going to get their best effort. They're finally back in Tampa. They could change the narrative. And you were expecting, honestly, after let's be real here. You shell any team 7-0. There's an emotional high that you have to come off of. Usually in the regular season, you can adjust because the team that you're facing next did not suffer that. In a series, you're making them mad. And you saw that Tampa just kept pushing even later into the game in the third period. They could have just kind of settled down.
Yeah, they're not
On
gonna
that
do it.
power play, they just kept going because of what we did to them in game 2. So you had to know Tampa was going to be playing angry and they wanted to even the score. The Avs just couldn't respond. So going into game 4, it's the Avs' turn.
Yeah. And I think you'll see that. I think they're very angry with how they played.
Yep.
And I think they will put a lot of the emphasis on themselves for not playing their game and making too many mistakes while giving the Lightning credit for capitalizing on them. So,
Yep.
all right, we got to talk about goalies and got to talk about Darcy Kuemper was pulled. Frankie came in, did well. Where do we stand with that? So let's hear from Built Bar first. And we talked about Built Bar mud pies that Kyle and I got last week. And I gotta have to come out with an official ranking. We probably should do that.
We do.
You know what I mean? Like our official, and whenever a new one comes out, where is it slotted?
Yep.
Like you got to put it in there somewhere. But mud pie, they have them both in the puff and the regular Built Bar versions. They are easily top 5 for me, maybe scratching top 3. I don't know. You think so?
They landed in my top 3 as well.
They're so good. And of course, they're healthy for you. Honestly, they're really healthy for you. All Built Bar products are low calories, high protein, and low sugar. The mud pie is packed with 16 grams of protein. Code LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your order. Once again, that promo code is LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. All right, goalies. You know where we stand on this. I am usually team Darcy, and Kyle has always been a Pavel Francouz fan. You know, last night was not the best of nights for Darcy Kuemper. Let's not sugarcoat it. My issue with him, like, I still like the guy. I still get behind him. I probably would have pulled him after 4 goals and not 5 because the goals that he was letting in are not what you want to see. And you could just tell after the 4th one, it's like he doesn't have it. Pull him now. I don't like I'm kind of on man, I'm like towing the line here between who I want. If I want to get Darcy, if I want to keep Darcy in there or go with Francouz for game 4. But I'm really, I mean, it was concerning. It was concerning because you want your goalie to make some of those stops. You know what I mean? If your defense is that's what we talked about with Vasilevsky in game 2. You know what I mean? Like he has the capability to, if your defense is not playing well, bail them out and make some of these amazing saves. And that's what you wanted from Kuemper last night. There was mistakes that were made, and every time that you have a kind of nobody in between you and you just have a line of sight right to the goalie, he's not stopping those. And that's a problem. I know they're tough saves. I'm not saying they're easy saves, but if you can stop a couple of those but he's not stopping any of them. The first one, that's a fluke. That one just rolled off this day. I think it was Sorelli, was it not? Yeah, it was Cirelli. He was going to make a play, and the puck rolled off of his blade, and it kind of just scooted past Kemper. Like that's a fluky. I called it an oops goal. But the other ones, yes, tough saves, but you would just like to see him make a save on one of those. And that's you just didn't get it last night.
No, and that's the risk you run. It's bad Darcy is bad. You
That's a good
haven't
point. Bad Darcy is bad. Good Darcy is very good.
yeah,
You
and
know what I mean?
it's you're gambling. You're gambling. And I know everybody likes to come after me because I'm Team Frankie,
Mm,
and this is what you wanted all along. Well, it's twofold. How the Avalanche play around Darcy Kemper and how the Avalanche play around Frankie are two completely different things. They this defense, like, they protect Frankie.
sure.
There's more of a reinforcement behind Frankie because it's still an unproven. You know what he can do, but you want to help him out. Darcy, we talked about that gamble. Good Darcy, you don't have to protect him. Protect him. Bad Darcy, you have to protect him at all costs. You can't
Mm.
completely change what your game plan is to protect your goalie. And there were a lot of people in the space talking about, well, Frankie wasn't tested. He only faced 10 shots. And
Did he really?
yeah, he only
Yeah.
faced 10
Yeah, it
shots.
makes kind of sense. Yeah.
But we were just about to hang Darcy Kemper's name in the rafters for a 16 save shutout. Like, 6 shots do not separate you from legendary status. The defense tightened up. Frankie allowed 1 goal.
And that happens a lot when a goalie comes in relief. They'll give up one early and then really kind of like settle in and shut the door. But the Avalanche really kind of upped their game, even though they were down 6-2 in the third. What were the shots in the third? Because I'm
That
willing to
was,
bet they were.
12-6 Colorado.
Yeah, and the Avs had to press. You know what I mean? Like, so it kind of makes sense. And they looked good in the third in terms of like puck possession, but the game was over by then.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. Like I mean, I know where you stand. You would go with Pavel Francouz in game 4, right?
absolutely. I would have, you know me, I would have had him in already. Um,
I mean, and if he only had 10 saves, there were a couple that he made some good saves on. You know what I mean? But
and the
that's
way he starts rushes, I think is another crucial thing, especially if they're down. This is another crucial thing that the Avs could use is how Frankie starts the rush. He doesn't freeze and go to a faceoff, which the Avs are not good at. Frankie does that unconventional. He'll fire it 90 degrees right into the boards, and then they'll start it on the edge that way, and then get the offensive, like the ozone transition that way.
Mhm.
And he'll come out of his net a little bit and provide some defensive assists by fielding the puck there and then passing it off to the first available defenseman. Frankie does a little bit more than Darcy. Darcy, it's that good and bad Darcy, and it's the Stanley Cup final. It's you can't keep gambling
Yeah.
on this, and you've got to ride the hot hand. And Darcy is not the hot hand right now. I know he got us here, but Frankie is the hot hand.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing well enough where you would say you might need to start him in game 4. Um, and like Darcy Kemper got the shutout, but he hit 16 shots. Okay, he still had to stop 16 shots, but he got a shutout. That's fine. And to me, it's just like the goals that he should have stopped. Like I said, that first goal, I'll let him go on that. The second one, it was a pretty play by Tampa. They ran a break to perfection, and that's not a save that I'm expecting him to make,
Mhm.
but it's a save I would like him to make. The one that
Yeah.
was on Palat. It was Stamkos who made a nice pass. There's nobody blocking him. I feel like Kemper he's too quick to flatten out and kind of go on his belly. He doesn't stand tall long enough, and you
Yeah.
see Vasilevsky do that. Vasilevsky's a big guy. He uses his size to his advantage. Kemper's a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when he tries to time these like flailing saves and he goes down to like his waist and kind of like goes forward on his stomach way too early, and it's so easy to go top shelf on him. So it wasn't the best performance from him. He had 5 high danger shot attempts against him, 7 medium danger. His expected goals against was 3.04, and he gave up 5. So it's a negative 1.96. Like, that's not good. That's not good.
And
So
we were touting his 16 save shutout in game 2. He almost faced 16 shots in period 1, led up 2.
yeah.
And there was 14 shots in period 2. And that's where it started getting out of hand. There was 3 more there. Like, that's not a good that's not a good percentage.
Yeah.
Like, you can't maintain that, especially if Tampa's starting to get hot and you knew you had to be at your best in Tampa against a very mad Tampa team. You had to be better and you just could not.
No. Nope. I'm looking at kind of just all of it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, I don't know.
And
I need the day off to really think about this because I
the,
go ahead. Go
the
ahead.
3 losses the Avs have suffered in these playoffs are with Darcy Kuemper in net.
Right. Right. So, and for that, it's like, you're not so much for the playoffs, but because he plays so much more, you have more of a sample size for him to kind of like say, well, there's more stats against Darcy Kuemper to kind of like pick apart to say, like, this is why you shouldn't play him than there is for Pablo Francouz. That's just the nature of the beast because he's played more games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but, Francouz, it is what it is right now. He hasn't lost in the playoffs, and ones that he's started anyway. It's so tough. Like, because
And
I'm of the mind of like, give guys chances of redemption. Maybe that's the Star Wars in me. Of like, you need to let these guys like get redeemed. Uh, but you also you don't have a lot of time to do that.
exactly.
So
Redemptions for the regular season. Wins are for now. Like,
yeah,
the one more bad Darcy game, we have a tied series. Like, you were right there about to knock out the back-to-back champions and really steal momentum in Tampa, and you did not do that. And now the Bolts are confident. They're starting to believe in themselves a little
I
bit.
know. But
Like,
if you go ahead,
it's this is it's and we talk you mentioned like Darcy has a bigger sample size. The Avs all regular season regularly would score touchdowns on teams, and like the game was over first second period. Those teams aren't coming at you. They're not testing you. Like, this Avalanche team has been so good for so long. You don't get teams. It's easier to give up in the regular season. Is what I'm trying to get at. You don't have to sit there and get tested like you do in the playoffs. And Darcy's dropped 2 against St. Louis, and ever since Frankie's been in there, it's been smooth sailing.
been a little bit better. It has been, yeah. As far as Vasilevsky goes, like, he had a much better game. I mean,
Yeah,
God, he gave up 7. He's going to have a better game. I mean, he only gave up 2 with an asterisk. If you want to say that they got 3 on him, even though the
yeah.
one got negated, okay, fine. But the Avs got. Let me see. Their expected goals. This is according to Money Puck. Expected goals for the Avs is 6.6. Expected goals to Tampa's 4.2. So they had chances on him. How many? Let me see how many high dangers he had real quickly. 9 medium, 9 high. 9 high danger chances that they had. Again, like when you really look at like the deep stats, like stat wise, it was a in the end an okay game for the Avs.
Yeah.
And if you clean up these mistakes and these silly turnovers, and you are able to kind of slide past defenders and play a little bit more of your game, I think the Avs, again, like I said in the beginning, like, I'm okay overall with this game. You don't like the outcome. You don't like that it was 6-2. You got to tighten up some things clearly. but I'm okay. I do have confidence going into game 4. I really do.
You
I really
killed
do.
off 5 penalties. You were 50% on the power play, 2 for 4. Like, the 2
Mhm.
goals that we got were on the power play. When was the last time we got to say that about this Avalanche team?
Yeah.
Like, you are doing good things, but you need everybody buying in and also doing good things. Like, you mentioned Vasilevsky. Like, we have so much high quality depth on this team that could work together and get past Vasilevsky that he doesn't we've proven he doesn't scare us. So we
Right.
just got in our own way.
And you said everybody has to buy in, and that's what we're going to get to next because it could look a little bit different going into game 4 with the Avs as far as roster players coming back. And we will get to that here in a second. We have to get to a sound check first. And if you're just listening for the first time, maybe our LOPN sound check, Kyle and I pick a song that we feel best summarizes the most recent game, win or lose. In this case, obviously, the loss to Tampa in game 3. All of these songs go up on a playlist on Spotify. Just search LOPN Soundcheck and follow along. And yeah, just get pumped for the next game.
Yeah.
And I think these songs will do just that. What do you got for this one, sir?
It's an obscure band that I fell in love with in the 2000s. I don't think they're around anymore. I think their last album came out in 2001.
Okay.
It's Fu Manchu. It's a
What,
kind of like a California, like alt rock, stoner rock kind of band.
what was their
Um,
big song? Didn't they have like a big
King
song?
of the Road. I think they covered King of the Road, and like that made it for a while. I think it hit a couple commercials. Like they
Okay.
were just about the level of like Yellow Card, like not
Oh,
really
okay.
much. But this song was didn't really try. And that just honestly, you had everything like we mentioned stats wise, like the Avs had every opportunity to put this game away,
hmm
and they didn't really try. And you can see that in the puck handling. Like especially like if you had that sense of urgency, we would have a much better song for
There
tonight.
were moments, like I think overall, I feel like the effort level was there, but there were moments, especially to start the third period. It was a
Mhm.
4-on-4, and they had possession of the puck, and it was just a lazy. I think it was Devon Taves. It was just like a lazy pass off to the side that got intercepted.
Yep.
Nothing came out of it, but it was just like it's a 4-on-4. You should, and this is to start the period, get a goal quickly. Who knows what the heck can happen? But it was, I think as the game went on and they knew it was kind of like over. Maybe they didn't even try. I don't. I can't go there fully, but there were moments. I'll give you that. For me, like I said, you might have help on the way because Nazem Kadri could be coming back in game 4. Did you see that video of him
Mhm.
kind of like tearing up the ice, making moves, making cuts?
Yeah. Do you think I don't have
Uh,
video of Nazem Kadri? You're
yeah,
out of your
right.
own mind.
Um, I don't know how his shot is looking, but as far as skating is going, he seems like he's just fine. You might have Andrei Burakovsky coming back. Maybe he just needed a day off to, maybe get a little bit more dexterity in that hand that got hit by a puck. Maybe Pavel Francouz takes over for game 4 in net, who's, obviously we just talked about. So because of that, my song is another one of Kyle's favorite bands in Shinedown. And the song is Cry for Help because help could potentially be on the way. And think about that. Think like the team that the Avs put out there. You don't have Kadri, you don't have Burakovsky. Those are big, and Burakovsky's playing fantastic. Kadri's had an amazing year, and he's had a great postseason. You get these guys back. That's another reason why you feel really confident going into game 4.
The Avs are loading up while Stamkos is injured and hobbling. Point is out. Nick Paul is also
Kucherov went out.
Kucherov. Like they're falling off. The Avs are loading up.
Could be, yeah. And let's talk about that Kucherov nonsense at the end of the game. He gets Josh Manson pretty good, and they didn't show a replay on it. And I'm getting annoyed with ESPN with their replay. Like, they need to cut to replay a lot quicker for
Yeah.
like, this is a quick game, right? And after there's a stoppage of play, they drop the puck pretty quickly. And I know it's a tough gig that to do, to bring up replays that quickly. But they're not showing things. First of all, Kucherov, yes, slams Josh Manson into the boards. It seemed like his head went right into the boards.
Yeah.
And he was down for a little bit. Nothing was called. Okay, fine. And then they called Devon Taves for a cross check when he was Kucherov was down. He's going down, and Taves is going to check him. It wasn't a cross check. He's going to check him in the boards, but because Kucherov falls right at the same time that Taves is going to check him, they call him for a penalty. I thought that was garbage. I mean, the game was over by then. It's not saying that turned the tide or anything like that, but they let him get away with a hit on Manson, and then they call a very like iffy. Well, it's not even an iffy. It wasn't a cross check. I don't know how they got a cross check out of that.
Yeah.
But that annoyed me.
Yeah, there was a little bit of home cooking when it came to the calls, and you could feel it with, 1 for 6 on the power play for Tampa, 2 for 4 for Colorado. There's a little bit of the home cooking and trying to make this, and also a point to the ESPN broadcast. Bailey in our Twitter space brought this up. If you can watch it on 2 screens, pull up the ESPN Ice Pass. It has live stats constantly going, and it's a good second screen experience because Lord knows they're not going to show you the shot count live on the score bug.
I don't know why they don't leave that up there.
It's on the Ice Pass, along with everybody's time on ice, the offensive zone stats. It's very helpful if you're trying to keep track of that because ESPN doesn't care.
I mean, it's a big stat. Like, people want to see stuff like that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But yeah, I think people are going to be mad at Taves for that. I mean, that's just a hockey play. That's just a hockey play. And if Kucherov doesn't, I don't even know if he lost an edge. He kind of, I think he went down for the puck and kind of lost his balance as Taves is checking him. That's going to happen.
And 2 other little instances to be mad at to just keep you up at night so you don't sleep. LOC, we don't need you fighting that late. Honestly, like, come on, bud. We're trying to get healthy here. It was a good fight, but come on, be a little bit better. We saw what happened with Nathan McKinnon when he tried to do the same earlier this year. Let's not have that happen. And Cogliano.
Yeah, he
What are you doing trying to fight with one good hand? We just got you back.
Yeah.
Do not go throwing punches with taped together fingers.
Yep.
Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, looking forward to game 4 quickly. I kept waiting, and it's not for, again, a lack of trying. I'm waiting for Nathan McKinnon to take over a game.
Yeah.
It might be tough, because Tampa does have good defense, and they finally showed that in this game. But I'm waiting for him just to take over. He what did he have? Shots on goal, only 6. Wow. But you look at this, man, it's just up and down the route. Lehkonen -3, McKinnon -2, Comfer had a couple really nice chances and just nothing. Taves -3, Makar -3, EJ -2. It's just, it's odd because you look up and down the roster and you're like, this is a bad game if you're just looking at that. And that's why plus minus doesn't really tell the whole tale. But it's a tale of 2 games. The score and all those things look bad. And if you dive deep into some of these stats where you're like, okay, like, well, the Avs outshot them. And that's not a deep stat. I'm not, breaking any mold here.
Wow.
Yeah, right. 39-32 in favor of the Avs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Lightning out hit them 40-27. This was, the physicality is picking up a little bit more. That doesn't play into the Avs' hands. They got to get back to the speed part of it. I don't know, man. I think if you get, like I said, Kadri and Burakovsky back, I'm not feeling like, oh my God, this is going back to Colorado 2-2 right now. It could happen. Don't get me wrong, but I feel really good about what the Avs, and then this happening is a good thing for the Avs.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're not. This is what we need to do to go back out to make sure that does not happen again. So I'm looking forward to Game 4.
Yeah, the Avs can absolutely learn from this loss and build on it going forward. And another player you wanted to see a little bit more out of, Cale Makar, because in Game 3, it would have been a great chance to put on that shine
Yeah,
because they're about to announce who's winning the Norris. That's between Games 3 and 4.
yeah.
What better way to put a little shine on when they Zoom call Roman Yossi and he's got his tan from golfing? What better way with Cale Makar in a Stanley Cup patch? Be like, hey,
Yeah,
you
right.
chose wrong.
I mean, I got Makar, even though he's a -3, he had 2 assists. On both goals, it was the same 3 guys. It was Landeskog scoring the goals. It was Rantanen and Makar on the assists. They just flip-flopped who had the primary assist from goal 1 to goal 2. So he still was a -3. I mean, when you're out there all the time, and the team scores that much, that's going to happen. But when you look at just went away. Where'd it go? Here, let me bring it back in here. Okay. Like Corsi for and Corsi against, 79-55 in favor of the Avs. So the Avs had 79 shots that, for one way or other, got through. But here's the interesting thing for Fenwick. And again, if you don't follow this stuff, Corsi is any shot thrown towards the net. It doesn't even have to be on goal.
The
It could
Berkey
be
stat.
it could be blocked. Yeah, it could be blocked. It could be tipped to the side. Anything that goes towards the net is considered for Corsi. And for the Avs, what I say, they had 79 compared to the Lightning 55. So that's 59% of the shots were in favor of the Avs. For Fenwick, which gets rid of blocked shots, Fenwick does not count block shots. The Avs go from 79 down to 52. That's a lot of block shots. So you've got, 27 blocks for the Lightning. I mean, get some of those through and we got a different ball game.
That goes back to buying in and cohesion because the best way to get around a block shot is one extra pass.
There you go. So we shall see. But yeah, we got a day off and we're going to get some awards. I'm looking forward to, obviously, the Norris and GM of the year. I am waiting for that because we haven't even got I don't know why they didn't give us the final 3 for that one.
Because it should be a no-brainer.
Because I think
NHL.
They know, yeah. And if Joe Sakic's not even one of the final 3 in that this year, it's going to be a riot. All right, everybody.
They might just put a team in Arizona.
Yeah. That's going to wrap it up for today. So it's a loss. Doesn't matter if it was 3-2 or 6-2. A loss is a loss. But there is some things to think about for the Avalanche. So we'll be back tomorrow to talk about those things, as well as the awards that some of the Avalanche are up for if they won or lost. And if any of these guys, if we get any word on Kadri or Burakovsky, it's going to have a different look for Game 4. We shall see. But I feel good.
You're going down the road, you hit something in the road, and now you're sitting gripping the wheel like, am I losing air in that tire? Am I losing air in that tire? That's where we are right now.
And then you get out and fix the tire and everything's fine. There you go. All right, everyone. Thanks for making this your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. Again, follow us on our social media outlets. But until tomorrow, he is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli, and this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.